So obviously here, because we've already started our game, we're not seeing the normal introduction cutscene. There is an introduction every time you start your playthrough, which will be slightly different depending on the corporation you've selected. So yeah, there are a bunch of corporations you can pick from. Some of them will determine how your bridge looks, how parts of the ship look, which weapons you and your crew have access to when you start, that sort of thing.
Exactly. So we're on the bridge and we've just jumped into a menu. This is procedurally generated every time you play. So what we've got here is a little cluster of planets, and we haven't scanned them. So what we'll have to do is jump back out, and we can scan them ourselves with these computers, or we can assign crew members. So what we want to do is have a look at this screen.
Job assigned.
And we'll assign rows to the bridge, and they'll come in. But while we're waiting, we'll start with the scanning.
So yeah, obviously if you've assigned someone, they will do the scanning for you. You can also, on the screen you saw before with the crew members, either select from the list if you want a specific crew member to do a specific thing. For instance, if you want a Hollow, which is one of the alien races, because they have high intelligence, you might want them to do these kind of tasks because they are faster at it. But if you just want a random clone to come help you, you can use quick assignment, which you just get a random clone to join you.
And there we go.
Now we have roads, working the bridge.
Exactly. And leave them to crack on, and we'll go and have a quick bit of a tour.
So if you've never heard about Genesis 1, Brett, what kind of game is this?
So this is a sci-fi roguelike first-person shooter, which involves base building elements. And this is the crew quarters, so you can see the other clones that we've got, and they're not doing that much in the minute because we haven't assigned them any jobs. But that will soon change. We'll crack the whip and we'll get them doing some work. But yeah, you can you'll find them in here if they're not assigned to anything. Moving on, we will head to a very important aspect of Genesis, which is the greenhouse.
This is basically the heart of the ship, right?
It is. So in here you can assign crew. At the moment we haven't got any other plants to put in the planters, but what you'll do is this creates the atmosphere. So when you start experimenting with other alien races, you will need the relevant plants to put in here to create that atmosphere and make sure they don't die and they can breathe and do some work.
Yeah, so specific plants of specific sizes will create the correct atmosphere for the races you decide to have on your ship. So you can build and you can create your crew, basically whatever you want. If you want them to be just humans, you can do that. If you want them to be humans spliced with whatever else you might be able to find out there, like the Hollows I mentioned previously, you can totally do that. But you will need the corresponding atmosphere for them to actually be able to live on your station.
Exactly.
We've got a question here, which I don't actually know the answer to this. Whether the PS4 will support keyboard and mouse, I don't think so.
Not at the moment, but that's certainly something we can look into. And forward to the devs and see if there will be. But for the full PC version, there will be mouse and keyboard support.
Yeah, we're currently playing on controller on PC.
Yeah. So we're in the tractor beam area. So this is where we can harvest materials to come aboard the ship, which will go into our storage, because they're already refined. And we don't have a refinery, but that's hopefully something we'll show you a bit later. However, while you're beaming things aboard, you can sometimes get a few stowaways. So it's good to set up defences here, because if we go under here, this can give access to the rest of the ship and you get an infestation. Just put some light on there.
So the maintenance tunnels basically span the entire ship. There are a few exceptions. There are a few modules that will block the progress of anyone moving down there, but generally speaking, if an alien can get down there, they can get around quite easily unless you prevent their travels, of course.
Exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a couple of turrets.
And you can carry up to 5 of these at a time. You can use them however you want. You can pick them back up and place them somewhere else. They have finite ammo, and the higher level they are, you can upgrade your turrets or get higher version of your turrets, and they will have more ammo and do more damage. But you really want your turrets in key locations like the tractor beam to make sure that anything that pops up is being dealt with very quickly.
Exactly. And what I'm doing here is I'm just laying down some shields to help slow down any infestation. So
these can again be placed on any flat surface on the entire ship, so you can place it under here, on the ground, or whatever you want. We have another question, Brett. So can you tell us a bit about the Rockstar Corporation pack, which you get from pre-ordering this?
You do indeed. So what you will get 4 guns, and I'm holding one of them right now, which is the Delta shotgun. You will also get the light assault rifle, the Kugel Blitz, and you will also get the firebomb launcher as well. So along with that, you will unlock different corporations as you proceed. So the Rocket Star Corporation pack gives you extra resources as opposed to the base level as well. So you will start with extra things that you can help you on your building.
So yeah, again, depending on the corporation you pick, you will start with different things. You might have different resources when you start. You might have access to different clones, different modules. So really, as you go along, this is, like I mentioned, a roguelike. So as you go along, you unlock more and more things. You're meant to play through several times. You will not be able to get everything in one playthrough. It cannot. I mean, you would have to be extremely lucky for everything to spawn, because it is randomly generated. So literally, you never know what you're going to find. But I can almost guarantee you cannot get everything in one playthrough. I mean, there would have to be some luck, I'd say.
Definitely.
So you play through many times, you unlock more and more stuff. You can unlock more corporations by meeting certain requirements. So some of them will need you to upgrade a certain number of clones, upgrade a certain number of weapons, build certain modules, farm certain things. That So you have to play in different ways to gain access to everything. And here, of course, we just saw a little guest.
We did. We had a couple of stowaways come in, and we've obviously assigned the crew to come here. They can start working on that. I'm quite happy with the defences that we've got. I might just put another turret.
Just to be safe.
Just in case. Safety first. Paramount on the Genesis.
So we do have another question, again, about the universe. So, like I mentioned, it is randomly generated, so you never know what you're going to see. You will have hundreds of planets in each playthrough. And they are all created within certain parameters, of course. You never know what you're going to find, so the landing sites, so the points of interest, if you will, on each planet will be random. What you find in them will be random. How many there are, if there are any at all, is random. The resources are random. The difficulty of the planet, the aliens you find, what kind of weapons they have, everything is random. So you really never know what you're going to get. And so it's going to help ensure that every playthrough can be unique and will offer you a different challenge and different experience.
Definitely. So we'll just pop back to the bridge, but what we're going to do, I'm quite happy with the defences we've put in our tractor beam. So we're going to go into the building menu and show you a bit of this. So in here, you've just got your standard connections. Now the corridor, I think, is pretty self-explanatory, but things like access points, you can strategically place these anywhere on your ship, and these will give you underground access to the maintenance tunnels. So if you do have an infestation, you can have little shortcuts where you can get through. The turbo lift will also take you to higher and lower decks, because it's not all just on one plane.
Yeah, we're building a several-story space station, so how you build it is up to you. Where you place things and what floor you place things is all up to you, as long as you have the resources and energy required to do it.
Exactly. So what we're going to do here is probably the things that you all want to see. Is the hangar. So just rotate this around. So the hangar is where we can launch and go and explore new planets that have been scanned by our colleagues in the bridge. And we'll just go and check on our crew just to make sure they're getting on alright. And
the crew will help defend the tractor beam or any other module. They are armed, and their weapon will depend on the corporation you've picked. Exactly. So you don't have to rely on your turrets. If they run out, your crew will still defend themselves to the best of their ability. But they can die. You can kill them if you want to. If you find out you have too many humans, there are ways of getting rid of the ones you do have. Yeah. If you want, we don't encourage killing your crew members, but sometimes
no, definitely not.
Stuff happens. So we do have a few more questions from the chat. So thanks, by the way, to anyone joining us. We're live on Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, and the Genesis Alpha 1 Facebook page. So we do have one question. Are you able to create your own character?
So you can use the DNA to splice, and with the different corporations to unlock, they can have different uniforms. But in terms of actually creating your own character, not really. You can customize them. So if we go back,
you basically become one of your crew.
Yeah.
So each of your crew members act as your lives. That's where the roguelike aspect comes in. So as long as you have more crew members on your ship, you have more lives. So if we should die as our current captain, another crew member will be promoted captain, and we will continue playing as them. Exactly. So you keep changing your character as you eventually get I mean, you will inevitably get murdered by something out there. It's a very dangerous
Definitely.
space. So once you do take over as a different clone, so you're not one person. It's not one person's journey. It is humanity's journey for a new home world. And so you play as the next available captain at any time.
Exactly. And as you see, you can rename your crew if you want to make it a little bit more of a personal experience and these people I take on the journey.
Should we head down to a planet for now, maybe?
Yes. Let's
See some action.
let's do it. Alright, so what we've got here, this will tell you what type of resources. So if you're feeling that you are short in something and you really need to build something, you can have a look in the menu and then come here and cross-reference what resources are where. Also, we've got a crash site here, which is very good. But these type on the crash sites, you can find things like schemes, which will give you possibly gun mechanics, but blueprints, and other perks like that. It could also help you increase your armor. So there's a lot out there.
You can find story bits as well. So there's something called Tom's Voyage, which is sort of a main character, if you will. He basically tells you a story that took place prior to your arrival in Alpha 1, which is the part of this universe that we're in, called Alpha 1, the Alpha 1 Quadrant. And so Tom's journey basically tells you of tales of what came before. Some of it is quite gruesome. Not everything went well. We're currently waiting for crew members to jump in, I think.
Yeah. Where's he gone?
Have we launched a countdown?
Come on, mate. He's here now. We're ready.
So, yeah, you can send your crew members down on their own, or you can join them, or you can go on your own. It's entirely up to you. So obviously there are benefits and there are benefits to going on your own or to sending them, if you will.
He left it to the last minute to get on board. Then.
Yeah, just playing important here.
Don't think he wanted to go.
So we have another question regarding the Rocket Star Corporation Pack, so the pre-order bonus.
Yeah.
Will you be able to buy that? Have we talked about this yet? Can you buy that on its own after launch?
You can. That will be paid DLC after launch. Well, I think we're just finalising how much that will cost, but I believe it would be around £4. So I'm guessing that will translate to around $6.
So clearly, it's free to pre-order. So if you are interested in exploring, unknown, random generated part of space in a sci-fi roguelike, well, then maybe and if you like the stream, check it out. Maybe pre-order if you're into that kind of thing. The pre-orders are live everywhere right now.
Yes, they are. So on the PlayStation Store, the Microsoft Store, and the Epic Games Store. So you can pre-order there. Or pre-purchase,
right,
as it's known in some territories. But yeah, the price is £24.99 British pounds, €29.99 euros, and £29.99 in American dollars. So
and it is available physically on consoles as well. So if you don't want to, if you don't like digital games, if you want to have something for your collection, you can get the physical versions. Your crew's being attacked. Get the physical versions for consoles as well. So I see there was actually a thing on your left here next to the ship you can pick up. So as you'll see, we're playing without audio, by the way, so you can hear everything hopefully, but we cannot. So if something is attacking us we're not noticing, that is why. So the thing we just picked up, basically the red DNA strands are abilities. So once you have enough of those, you will gain alien abilities, which could be healing yourself or healing people around you. Could be spotting, damage things on your ship, damaging aliens, all sorts of stuff. You'll see the alien going red here actually. That one will indicate that it's going to drop a part of an alien ability. And once you have enough of those, you can give it to yourself, you can give it to your crew members.
And as we said, we're not playing the sound, but if you look at our left wrist, when there is any threats, you'll see an indicator showing what direction it's coming from.
So it's now showing something is behind us. So we can always, unless we're using the pistol, which is a one-handed weapon, we'll always be able to see where the threat is coming from. So even if you're playing without audio, or if you're just preoccupied with something else, you might notice that something is incoming. We do have a couple more questions from chat. Thanks, by the way, for joining in. Can you build multiple hangars, and can you send out 2 hangars at the same time?
No, I don't believe you can. So it's just the one hangar at this moment in time.
I believe you're right. And obviously, things change in development, so maybe it was different at another time. But yeah, I think at this point and for launch, it'll be one hangar. Basically, you'll have a lot of things to take care of on your spaceship or space station, and you want to make sure that you don't get overwhelmed by things to defend. You also have to keep in mind that your ship, while you build it any way you can, cannot be infinitely large, so you might not want to spend your precious energy and your precious space on more than one hangar, because ultimately one hangar will be enough. Because if you play like we typically play, you go to the planets yourself, and obviously you can only be in one place at once anyway.
Exactly, but you can send out crew. You don't have to go on the, on the expeditions. You can send out the crew. So what we've got here, we've got a suit upgrade.
So this is an upgrade you just automatically get as soon as you have this upgrade. Our grenade weapons now do 5% more damage, like that. And when we start following playthroughs, this will be one of the artifacts that we can pick from to start with in our next playthrough. So we could start with some of the benefits we've already earned in previous playthroughs, which can be anything from clones or modules, so certain buildings, and suit upgrades, resources, all that kind of thing, information. So we have another question. Do you pilot the ship manually or just choose a planet to land on? So this is more about you are the captain on the ship. You're not a pilot. You're specifically trained to keep your crew members alive, and to look for a planet, new home for humanity. So there's no manual piloting. You travel around the galaxy, but the ship. We are in the future. The ship is advanced enough to do all that heavy lifting for us. Yeah. So all we have to do is stay alive, which is easier said than done usually. So we have a question. How many years has this been in development? I don't know the exact answer to that, but it's been quite a while, and it's actually made by a team of just 3 people. It is. It's a German team called Radiation Blue. So yeah, 3 people have made this game. So, which I mean, is quite the feat, I must say. But yeah, it's been in development for quite a while, and it's finally coming out on January 29th next year.
It is, and just to point on this, what you've got here, you'll see the harvester was full, so we couldn't get everything from that planet. We could only get a limited amount. So we've come back up. And this will all be taken off.
So we do have some loading robots that will come and pick everything up. There we go. There's one of them.
Talk of the devil.
And they will unload your ship. You can go do something else if you want. You can get more robots if you want. You can get faster robots if you unlock. There are special versions of them that just are faster. And obviously, depending on how you've built your ship, the unloading process can be slower or faster. Depends on how far they have to go to storage and deposits, how far they have to travel to the refinery, that kind of thing. So depending on how you build, it will change the experience, so to speak.
It will. See what else we can build at the moment.
We have someone asking if there are disasters like meteor strikes and that kind of thing.
There is. You will see some strange things in the sky. That's all I'll say. But no, there aren't any environmental elements.
Well, there are certain clusters that are dangerous that do have this kind of things.
Asteroids, but yeah.
Yeah. So there will be from the bridge. I don't know. Are we near the bridge? We can go look actually. Yeah. So we can show you. I'm not sure how much we can see at this point because we're very early in this playthrough. But essentially, some of these squares around us, all of these are called clusters. With each individual square. Is the potential for planets and debris and things for us to find. It could be a future home planet in any one of these. You can click one of them to actually see more information about it, and one we haven't selected. So you should be able to hit A to go a bit further into it. Any other squares? I think it's A, maybe it's Y. I don't remember on this. Now we're traveling somewhere else. Oh, sorry. But basically, you will see on some of these squares, they will become red if it is a very dangerous place for you to be in your current situation. So some of them will have cosmic spores that could damage your ship. Some of them could have asteroid fields. Some of them could have alien, hostile creatures of varying types that will, try to take you down if you come into their space. So you can build something called a shield to protect you from these things. You're never fully protected, but they can help fend these kind of things off. But ultimately, in the beginning, at least, stay away from the red squares because they can be very dangerous for your ship. Definitely. And of course, an asteroid field can completely destroy your station, and then you're dead. So, do be careful where you travel, especially if you're not prepared.
And you can reinforce modules in your ship.
Yeah, give them more strength, more durability.
So, if you are attacked by some people called the Fremen or the mechanics who might come on, that'll give you a bit more durability. But let's just see how this scanning process is going. We may have pulled the person away. Let's just make sure.
So we have someone asking how many alien species there are in total. I don't think we've ever talked about the exact amount.
No.
There are quite a few, and there are actually, if after the stream, if you're curious to see more content, there are a bunch of YouTube videos and Twitch streams and Mixer streams already out there. So if you look for it, you can find a bunch of content, a bunch of series, some of them quite long already, that cover these kind of things. You can see a bunch of these alien races. But we're trying to keep some of the things a bit close to our vest until launch. We don't want to spoil all the surprises.
Definitely.
But what I can say about the aliens is that they are humanoids. So this is not Spore. You're not making your own creature. You're splicing an alien DNA with the human DNA. So because you have to be able to use every clone as a future player, so they have to be humanoids. They need to be able to wear a suit and wear armor. I see we got a greeting from Blitz. Hi Blitz, thanks for joining us. I hope you're doing well. And yes, this is a January release, so on Epic Game Store for PC, PS4 and Xbox One, January 29th. And obviously, Blitz, if you'd like to check it out, we'll be in touch. So, is there a limit to how far you can go on a planet, Brett? Another question from the chat.
There is. What we'll do is we'll jump down to another planet now, and we'll show you. There is an immediate landing zone where you cannot go any further.
So basically every planet is dangerous, and you have to stay close to your landing ship, because that's as far as the corporation can guarantee your safety.
Exactly.
So if you go beyond that, you will exit the there's like a bubble protecting you, and the atmosphere, basically it's a temporary atmosphere created on your ship. If you leave that, you will no longer have oxygen and you will eventually get killed. Yeah. So try to stay close to the ship, stay close to protection, keep yourself safe, because you are the future of mankind. So don't die. I mean, die sometimes because it's a roguelike, but don't die.
Yeah, because then we're all doomed.
Exactly. We do depend on you, or we will in the future. So you can see this is a very different looking planet from the previous one. Every time completely randomly generated, you never know what you're going to see. Sometimes you might not be attacked for minutes. Other times you'll be relentlessly attacked by aliens of all sorts. Some of them might carry weapons, shotguns, miniguns, laser weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know what you're going to see down here. So we can actually...
Got someone behind us.
Oh, we do have something coming. So yeah, these kinds of planets, it looks like some fiery ones. So we can see our health dwindling here. Now we're on fire, taking a bit of damage. So if we had the alien healing ability, we could heal ourselves here. But for now, we just have to stay alive. We can heal ourselves either by picking up biomass, which I don't think we've talked about yet.
No, we haven't.
Or you can go into the ship and then use biomass to heal. So basically, when you kill an alien, they will potentially drop biomass, DNA samples, and alien ability samples. So I mentioned the alien ability samples before, which is the red DNA-looking things. So we don't have much biomass here right now. So we need to kill something. But yeah, they might drop alien abilities, they might drop biomass, which is what we just picked up there. Picking that up gives you a bit of health. You see we jumped 8 health. And now that we have some biomass, we can go to the ship and heal up properly if you want to. So you know, you want to make sure to pick up everything you find. The green DNA samples in particular are basically actual DNA samples from these alien creatures. So as you kill more and more of them, you learn more about the DNA of these creatures. And eventually, looks like our crew member died, and we're the only one left on our ship. We're gonna have to collect some biomass, and clone someone else.
Yeah, definitely have to.
But yeah, as you collect more and more DNA samples, you will eventually have the knowledge to create clones of various races. But again, all of it is humanoid. 60%. So another question from chat is regarding multiplayer. So Genesis right now strictly a single player game.
It is.
Now, you know, we multiplayer is not currently in the plan whatsoever, but you know, we do like to look at community feedback and player feedback. So I guess at this point, you know, nothing is off limits post launch. But right now, strictly single player, no plans for multiplayer at all.
No.
So we will see, I guess. So this is the landing site, the point of interest we mentioned earlier, where you can go and find all sorts of information. So here we've received a suit upgrade, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to get 5. So now we are 5% faster, and eventually you can be really fast. And your character speed will also depend on the race you play. Some of them are just move slower than others. Some are more intelligent, so they use machine or computers faster. Some are just better equipped for weapons, have more health, that kind of thing. So we have another one from us, I see. Point of interest over here.
Accessing archives.
So we're scanning the information, bringing it back to our ship.
So it does take a little bit of time.
Yeah, and basically when this happens, you will, it basically works like an alarm, so anything nearby will be like, there's someone stealing our attack, or there's something happening on this planet, it's not normal, let's go check it out. So typically you'll have to defend the area that you're scanning. So yeah, when you do scan these type of things, be ready for anything. The good thing about scanning these obviously is that you unlock technology, you might unlock information. Here we got an alien location for the Inferno. So that's one alien race, actually the race we saw previously shooting fireballs at us, those are the Inferno. And now we can use our Galaxy terminal, so our main computer on the bridge, to see where we can find these aliens if we want to specifically go get Inferno DNA so we can make Inferno crew members. Or just farm their DNA and their weapons.
I think there was another crash site on here. I think there was 3.
You can, if you're safe, open your PDA and see what's left on the ship. Actually, oh, there's something spawning near you now. So you can put down shields. These are the Inferno. You can put down your energy barriers and the turrets here as well if you want help on the planet, and pick them up when you're done. Just remember to pick them up, otherwise they're lost to the planet. So you don't want to waste your So Chris on Facebook says he's pre-ordered on PS4. Thank you for the support. We really hope you enjoy it. Yeah, we really, this has been a long time coming. We really cannot wait for everyone to get their hands on this. In just a month and a half, it's gonna be really, really cool. And we hope that everyone enjoys their, journey into the unknown. So, and hopefully you can save our species if you do the
they're definitely getting a bit hostile, these guys. So
yeah.
What we might do is
Is it time to? Oh, there's a bit of biomass behind you on the left.
Yeah, I think.
Pick that up, because yeah, we are the last clone remaining. So if we die right now, which could happen, we never know what we're gonna see, then we will have game over and have to start over. So I think maybe we should flee just for our own safety.
Yeah, we'll just.
We obviously don't have infinite ammo either, so we have to conserve our ammo. We can craft more, we can find more, yeah, we want to make sure that we have enough to just survive and make a few more clones for now. So if our crew member had still been alive, they could help us mine this. You can give your crew members commands. I don't think we've covered that yet. So you can tell them specifically to mine or to retreat. You can tell them to fight or again flee, run back to the ship. You kind of, sometimes you're going to be overrun. In those situations, it might be best to just tell your crew members, run back to the ship. We're getting the hell out of here. It's too dangerous. And yeah, so because some of the planets, I think. Is this an easy planet? What difficulty was this?
I think this was a low. We'll double check, but yeah, I think it was a low risk.
But they go as high as critical, and you don't want to go to those unprepared because you might get killed in like 2 or 3 shots by someone with a rocket launcher or something.
No,
so
exactly.
Do be careful.
And one thing you might want to do is also you'll sometimes get stowaways coming through the hangar.
Yeah, so if you send your crew down without you, there's a very high chance that something will come back because they're not quite as thorough as you are. And also just from a gameplay perspective to make sure that no matter whether you go to a planet or stay back, there's always some action waiting for you. You're not going to just lay back and relax on your ship and just let the crew take care of everything.
I don't think we have mentioned Ida, which is basically the AI on the ship who will guide you if you've got any questions. She's a fountain of knowledge.
Yeah, so if you hear any female voice talking while you're building or when you experience something new, that is Ida talking. So she is basically your primary resource. So do we have a clone lab? Do we have enough to make one at all?
Let's have a look.
We will be under life systems. Oh, there we go. Crew, yeah, clone lab. What do we need? So we need energy.
Right, so that means...
Can we actually build energy
reactor?
We can. Awesome. So let's do that. So yeah, you need enough reactors on your ship so you have enough power to everything, because obviously the ship doesn't power itself. So now we can build a couple more things. Do we now have enough left over to build a clone lab? We do, so we can actually hopefully make some clones. Should we build ours on a different floor? Do we have enough? Or do we not want to risk it now, maybe? Because we don't have enough resources yet.
Well, we could do.
Can we spare if we look at the turbo lift? Energy only, yeah, let's do that. So again, we can build on separate floors, design the station any way you want. So another question that's popped up on chat is how big the map are on the planet. So we briefly showed it before. I mean, I'm not sure how to define the size, but I will say you can, no matter where you are on the explorable parts of the planet, you can still see the harvester unless it's a jungle-like planet. But generally speaking, you cannot go further away from the harvester than you can still see it. So it's a relatively good, decent size. You have to stay safe, and so you have to stay kind of close. Yeah, you can't move too far away just because that would be dangerous.
Okay.
But yeah, expect a planetary visit to last typically probably 5 to 10 minutes or something.
Say so, yeah.
It obviously depends. If you're just going down to pick up a plant and leaving, it could be 30 seconds. If you want to get everything, you might go back. You could be on a planet for 20 or 30 minutes if you go back several times. Really depends on what you need and how thorough you want to be.
Yeah, it's basically a case of get in there, get what you need, and get out and move on, because there's a lot to explore, and you'll need a lot of different resources to build your ship, and you will have to visit a lot of different planets in order to get the different resources that you need. So there's no real need to dwell on them for too long. But we have built a clone lab, so we're going to check it out.
So we got someone asking about early access. So there is no early access. We did previously investigate the possibility of doing a preview version of the game. Unfortunately, we've had to put that on hold just for now to focus on the best possible launch for the game. But of course, if that changes, if we have anything new about a potential playable preview, you'll be the first to know. We'll be sure to tell you.
Definitely.
But for now, we're focusing on launch. And yeah, if again, streams like this, there are plenty of them out there. If you want to know exactly what Gen Self 1 is, you have plenty of opportunity to find out exactly what kind of game this is. We want to make sure that everyone knows what they're getting, what experience they can expect. So go check out all the content.
There's some fantastic content out there. It's global as well. It seems to have had global appeal. So we've got Grillmaster, who's done a great series. We've also done Dan Field, who's French, who's done some great videos as well, and Play Hard Games, based in Russia, and Jones Gaming, based in Germany as well. So if you are looking for some language-specific content, please do look at them, and they will be able to enlighten you.
Yeah, and of course, if there's anything specific you want to see, let us know in chat. Reach out to us on social media. We might be able to accommodate. We still have a bit of time before launch. We're still working out all the things we're showing off. So yeah, anything specific you want to know about, anything you want to see, just let us know. We might be able to help.
Exactly. So as you're seeing here, these are the aliens or the humans
that we know about so far on this playthrough.
So as you can see, we don't have enough biomass, and that's because we don't have a biomass tank. So what we're going to do is we're going to build one. Hopefully we've got enough resources, which we do.
So yeah, if you don't have a biotank, all the biomass you collect goes nowhere. So yeah, the stuff we collect on the planet, where you can collect up to 20 at a time, because there's only so much space. There's just a small container on the harvester, which is the small transport ship. You can bring back 20 at a time, but of course, if something attacks you on the ship, which can happen in a number of ways, you will then get your biomass quicker.
Exactly. So you can come and speak to Ida, and she will give you some great advice and show you the ropes. But you can also find things in your PDA if you require it.
And you can actually do, I think maybe we answer a quick question before we jump into the feature on the PDA. So Bliss asks, can you change brightness currently? Because it does look quite dark. And I'll say about the darkness, you do have a flashlight, which is very helpful, but generally speaking, depending on the cluster you're in, whether there's a sun nearby, depending on how you've built your ship, the light levels, if you will, might change. So you might find yourself in a place that's super dark. You might have built all around your greenhouse, so the greenhouse maybe is without light, or you might be right next to a sun, so everything is fully lit up. So all that will change dynamically depending on where you are. As for game setting, I don't know if that's currently in this build brightness setting. If it isn't, I'm sure it'll be there as soon as possible. I do think it is.
Yeah,
I'm quite certain it is currently in there.
But
we don't want to bore you with settings on the stream, though.
But as you can see, it's a lot brighter up here than it was on the floor below, and that's because of the way we've built. However, you can brighten things up via your PDA.
Okay, you can do a lot of interesting things on the PDA, so this is one of your best friends.
So if we wanted to change the ship colouring,
so just if we basically select 3 different things, and then you can either select the color of the specific module you're standing near, or you can color like we just done the entire ship. So you can change how doors look, how floors look. If you go in the crew quarters or the bridge, you will see. You can see even here that the planting areas have changed. But you can change how the sofas look and some of the various furniture. So you can make this ship your own. You could make one floor one color, another floor a different color. You can make, if you want to know that everywhere where your floor is red, that's where you're farming stuff, just so you can more easily find around. You can find your way around. You can do that. If you want to make your your crew quarters or your crew areas green, you just do that. I mean, whatever you want, it's all to you. This is your ship, so part of that is that you can name the ship as well when you start. You can name every single crew member. You can their appearance will change depending on the roles they have, the corporation you're in. The race they are. Again, you can call your entire ship and name every part of the ship as well, so you can basically find around more easily.
So, looks like we've got no more debris to find there, so what we're going to do is we're going to head back to the bridge.
And go somewhere else. So, we've got someone asking whether there are any Easter eggs. I feel like that's something you don't talk about pre-launch, because you don't want to spoil surprises if there is anything.
No. All I'll say is I have seen a very familiar looking classic computer which is very close to my heart,
right?
And that's all I'll say, and if you play it you'll probably see it, and if you're into your retro gaming or you're old like me, you'll probably remember it very, very well.
Yeah, there are definitely remnants from society as we know it, even though it is a very retro future. So there are a lot of things that you might recognize. I think there's one specific module actually in the game that will show you a bunch of things that are very current Earth. Let me put it that way. But we don't want to give away too much. But there's a lot of stuff to uncover. We do have another question about difficulty. So the difficulty basically scales depending on what you do in the game. You don't pick a difficulty level. Like I mentioned, it is a roguelike. So every time you play, the experience will be different depending on. You can see actually if you go back to the terminal behind you.
Were you looking at the critical?
Yeah, well, here you can actually see on the right hand side it will say danger low on the current one. Some of them, this one danger critical. Yeah. So this cluster in general is way more dangerous. That could both mean things that will harm your ship in space, but certainly also things that might come on board, or things that you'll encounter on planets. So depending on where you go. And how prepared you are when you go there, the difficulty will scale. So it could go from being super easy to super difficult within 2 minutes, if you allow it. Or if you're just surprised and are unprepared.
So what we're going to do is just going to set the tractor beam in motion so these guys can pull some resources aboard. So let's have a look. So iron is always good.
Yeah, so basically here we're beaming something aboard from destroyed. So other ships have been here before us. These are debris from ships that were less fortunate. Ships that were destroyed, which is why the materials we got on board from these is already processed, because it's materials that have already been used to build other ships. Also a quick shout out, by the way, in chat to Worms All Stars. Thank you for joining, buddy. Nice to see you. Yeah, anyone who has any questions, anything you want to know, or just a quick shout out, to drop it in chat. We'd be happy to oblige. So we have someone asking if the game supports multiple languages. I know it does, and it supports quite a few. I don't know the full lists by heart.
No, there is. From what I'm aware of, there's a good few languages supported, so we can definitely find that out for you.
Yeah, I'm sure our producers can take a quick look, and yeah, we'll find out. So we can have another question asking how many clones you can have. So there are a couple of things tied to how many clones will be on a ship, right? So obviously, you have to prepare for your clones, so you need to make sure there's room for them, which means you need a crew quarter for all of your clones. When you make a crew quarter, you can have 5 clones in each, and obviously as long as you have enough crew quarters, you're going to be fine. If you have a crew member that doesn't have a crew quarter, they're just going to have to sleep in the corridor, which will eventually make them sick. Yeah. If the crew members get sick, they might spread, other crew members might get sick, people might start dying, so make sure that all your crew have a place to sleep. You don't need to sleep yourself because you are a machine. You are here to save everyone else. No rest for the wicked. So you don't have to worry about yourself, but everyone else needs a place to rest. So yeah, we are now setting a ship off on its own. So it'll take about 30 seconds or something. Then it'll come back. It'll have some resources for us. Might even have some nasty aliens for us to take care of. But I think you put down a couple of turrets.
I did indeed.
That should help with that.
Just in case.
You'll see in here our couch is now red because we colored it earlier. You can change this anytime you want. It'll change immediately in real time. Like the building, everything is real time. You don't have to wait for something to build. You just change things, build things, destroy things, reinforce. It happens immediately. So it's more about the moment-to-moment gameplay than it is about bogging you down with slow building and managing.
As you can see, you can put a different colour scheme to however you'd like it.
Exactly.
So let's just head back.
Oh, perfect timing. Ship's coming back. Let's see. So here again, completely random. It could be nothing. Could be a bunch of aliens. Could be different types. So how are we? Are we lucky this time? Maybe the other side. So obviously we can't hear anything. Normally the ship would warn you. Ooh, there's something over there. The green gas. So the ship will warn you if there's an alien species on board. There should be a growth that you might be able to see in a few seconds on the ground. It could have already traveled under the floors.
Yes, hope not. Cause yeah, they do travel. So if it does, we might have to go
basically, this will start a growth on the planet. I mean, we could leave it for a bit just to see what happens. Really. And that is part of it. If you want to just see what happens, we've already seen that in some of the video series that some have created, exploring to see what happens if you let these things get sort of out of hand, because they can spread throughout your ship, they can infest your crew members, people get sick, and they will. Some of these aliens, they all act differently. Some of them will try to kill you. Some of them will try to kill the crew members. Some of them will go immediately. They love power, so they will go for these power nodes you'll see on the ground here and some places on the walls. They will try to destroy those. If those get destroyed in a module and are destroyed for too long, the module will fail. So oxygen will disappear. Eventually, a fire will break out, and if you leave it too long and you don't fix it, the module will blow up. So your ship can be destroyed by these aliens if you don't take care of them quick enough. I mean, you don't have to panic. They don't destroy your ship in 30 seconds. But if you leave things too long, you will pay the price. See, we saw one of our crew members helping us take out some aliens. Spread out. So it's a new DNA, the first Arachnoid sample. So once we have 10 of those, we can make the level 1 Arachnoid clone added to our crew.
And if you do require any extra ammo, you can come to here. So you have an ammo rack here and on your ship, and you will have one in your workshop when you create that, which we have.
There's an alien to your left. There we go. Oof. Are you still alive? So
he's not anymore. He's gone.
He's not anymore. So yeah, this is probably one that came from the ship. We didn't notice. He might have run straight on the ground. But yeah, it's basically you have to make sure ammo you can get from aliens. They might drop it if they are weapon-carrying aliens themselves. You're not going to get ammo from an alien that doesn't have a weapon. That doesn't make any sense. So if it's an alien if it's an alien type that carries its own weapon, it might drop ammo when you kill it. You can also find ammo on some planets.
You can.
Typically close to the artifacts you'll scan or the things you'll find, the points of interest. And you can craft ammo as well, so you can go to your workshop if you have the required resources and just make more ammo.
Definitely.
Because if you run out, you have nothing. You just run. If you run out, run for it.
Yeah, you normally find the higher level enemies will drop some goodies for you once you've destroyed them.
Exactly. So we have another question in chat: whether the game is launching on all platforms on January 29th. And yes, it is. So Epic Store for PC, PS4. Both physical and digital, and Xbox One, both physical and digital, on the same day.
Got a threat.
So we have someone asking if there are going to be more cooperation packs besides Rockstar. Everything else that we've currently talked about, that's currently planned, is in the game. You get every cooperation except the one pre-order one is included in the game. You don't have to worry about that. We're not going to have you buy 10 cooperation packs on day one. It's all going to be there except the one you can either get for free by pre-ordering or buying the one extra if you want to. And that's all we've planned currently. I mean, things will change again based on player feedback, what people really want to see, what the community at large. Oh man, a bunch of aliens here. So basically, yeah, based on what you guys want to see, we'll look at stuff post-launch. Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens. So there's a bit of alien ability over there. Let's see what these guys have. So basically, our collector tool is a very, it can mine stuff, it can pick up stuff. So this is actually the healing sample. So once we have 10 of those, might need to run the ship and heal actually. Yeah, 12 health. We might see if we have enough biomass to heal ourselves in here.
I'm sure we have.
Okay. Oh, we have one.
No.
No, we have nothing. So we need to kill something and pick up some biomass. So you need to stay on the move and kill something, get some biomass.
I think our turret may have got rid of it. Oh no, there's a threat coming over here.
So crew member.
Is that enough? The crew member's off.
Oh, there's some biomass on the ground. If you can pick that up real quick, we'll heal a little bit, and then we can go on board the ship and heal a little bit more. More biomass, more healing ability, I think. There we go. 2 out of 10. We should probably heal and maybe get out of here. This seems a bit dangerous. Did you pick a hard difficulty, or are we just getting unlucky out here?
I think we're just getting a bit unlucky. But as I say, it's completely random.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, like I mentioned, you could be on a planet for minutes and not see anything. You could be on a planet for seconds and be overrun. You never know what's going to happen down here. So sometimes it's better to go alone, so your crew members don't get killed, because they are not quite as battle efficient as you are. And other times you might need the backup. So we have another question: how many alien species are in the game? So some of them we've mentioned can be used to create clones. We're not talking exactly how many there are, but there are quite a few. In terms of aliens you can kill, there are a lot more. A lot of them cannot be used for cloning, and a lot of them will come in different tiers. So you might see an arachnoid, for instance, so that one of the small spider-type creatures, they come in different difficulty in different tiers. So you might, sometimes they might be more dangerous than they are at other times. But there are quite a few aliens. I don't have an exact number, but it's like dozens, I think, right?
Aliens, yeah.
So it's quite a few. I mean, I've been watching some of these. Ooh, look at us next to us on the map. There's something we don't want to get too close to. So the mechanics are nearby. So if we travel into their zone, they will start teleporting onto our ship, and we probably die in seconds because we're not ready for this.
Yeah, we don't want to go there.
But yeah, like I mentioned, I've seen some of the series I've been watching. Some of them over 20 videos long, several playthroughs. They have still not encountered every alien type. So you can play for dozens and dozens of hours without seeing everything. It really depends on how thorough you are, how lucky you are, because it is all random. So we have someone asking if there's an offline mode the entire game.
Yeah.
You don't have to play online at all. It's a strictly single player, no online connection required. Just play at your own pace, pause whenever you want. There's nothing to worry about. It's all offline. So another question: the robot going around your ship, what does it do? We touched on this briefly. Right?
Yeah. So they will deliver. Well, basically take any sort of resources you've had off your ship, and then take them to the deposits or the refinery and ready to be used. So as you'll see down there, that's where we normally have the stuff. So let's have a look. We're getting ready for launch.
So yeah, they basically move resources around. So if you need something to be refined, they will take it to the refinery. After it's been refined, they'll take it back and put it in storage, so it's ready to be used. If you need plants for a greenhouse, you want to plant a certain type of plant to create a certain type of biosphere, the robots will go pick up the plant and bring it to the greenhouse, so the people you've assigned to the greenhouse will be able to plant it there.
Exactly.
So they basically are your worker bots and do everything around the ship in terms of transporting the goods.
And you can get more of them.
Yeah, and different types. Some are faster than others. There are limited edition types that are like white, like entirely white, entirely black, really cool looking ones. And they have, some of them are just faster and have better traits. So we do have another question. Lots of questions today, guys. That's awesome, really good.
That's great.
And keep asking questions in the chat. We have someone asking if there are alien architecture on planets, like houses. So there are no buildings. You will find remnants of things. So this obviously is something that previous humans have built that's crash landed on this planet. You'll find ships like this. You might also find like obelisk type things that are some sort of alien structure. You can use those to sometimes get alien technology, things you didn't know about. Location. Here we got a weapon, which we can now make if we have the required resources in a workshop. Yeah, you're not going to find houses. You're not going to find civilizations. This is all very I want to say they're more beast than human, most of these. There are certain human factions that you will encounter in space that you will be fighting, and some of those will have the technology, like I mentioned before, to teleport onto your ship and attack you. So you don't actually have to always seek out danger. It might come to you. And if you're not ready, you will be overrun. You might suffer, pay the prices of the consequence. But yeah, I mean, so you will see humanoid things around, but the planets will not have civilization on them.
Some of you may have noticed the turret spinning around here. So if you are in a bit of trouble, you can always retreat to the area that the turret is spinning around in. That will help you take care of some of the enemies.
Yeah, so if you are overrun or want to conserve your ammo, bring them back to the back of the ship and you get some support now. So we're close to the end of the stream, so we still have questions coming in. If you have a burning question, something you really want to know before we end here in a couple of minutes, do be quick and drop it in the chat and we'll take a look as soon as we can. So someone's asking where they can buy the physical copy. I would say most major retailers should have it, or at least have it soon. I mean, we don't have a full list, and obviously it's coming out globally, so we will be able to supply a full list. But any major retailer either will have it now for pre-order, or ask them about it. You know, maybe they don't have it yet; it can tell you when it will be available. But certainly at launch, you'll be able to get your copy. You should be able to put it on pre-order in the App Store anyway. So yeah, any major retailer should definitely have it. So I have someone asking if clones fight back if invaded. I assume you mean if something attacks your ship, whether your clones will help you. They will. To the best of their ability, they're not as strong as you. Their weapons might not be necessarily as good as yours. It kind of depends on what you've upgraded and what they have. But they will defend themselves unless you ask them to flee. But they will try to keep the ship safe. They're just as interested in staying alive as you are. They also want to see this new home of humanity.
And there will be certain clones, once you've got enough DNA, that will be stronger than others. So there'll be some that will be more intelligent and suited to things like clone research, while others will be more suited to combat.
Exactly. So some, you might want some of them to research sicknesses or work in your tractor beam. Some of them you might. One thing you can do, you can build what's it called? Where you promote the next captain.
Oh, the respawn chamber.
Respawn chamber, there we go, sorry. Where you can basically assign a specific clone to become the next captain. So if you have a specific clone, like a level 3 rock, for instance, he might have 300 health, which is quite a bit more than we have, and you want him to be your next captain, you can assign him the respawn chamber, and the next time you die, you will take over as that clone. Now, there are good things and bad things about certain clones. So while the rock is super strong, he is slow because he's human and rock in one, so he's slower than others, but he is quite the tank, if you will. So a few more last minute questions. Is it possible to destroy your own ship by accident? Yes. So be careful. If you use explosive weapons on your ship, like if you blindly fire the rocket launcher or something, a grenade launcher, or just shoot at certain parts, if you accidentally hit a power node on your ship, that will take damage. If that is left unattended for too long, the module will get destroyed, blow up, you lose it. And you could also accidentally kill your crew members the same way. So if you shoot someone in the face or just shoot close to them with a rocket launcher, also they go down. So be careful on your ship. You don't have to be, you don't have to worry about it too much, but do consider which weapons you might want to use while you're in this confined space.
And if you're wondering where we are, we've just created a refinery here, and we can assign crew. And when you've got your resources from the places, you can put what priority is. So lithium will normally give you your ammo. So we've set that, and I've also built a workshop as well, which we'll just have a very quick.
So we've started our production of more ammunition, more weapons, that kind of thing. We can now have access to.
So we're over there.
So you can change the view here if you want. Yeah. So if you want to see, this is basically, you can see just the plan, which might be the easiest and quickest way to see things. But obviously the coolest way is to see the actual ship, which will depend on how you've colored it. So if you colored the ship red or blue or green, you'll be able to see that out here. You can see the red through the corner windows and stuff. So you'll be able to see your own entire ship from here. So a few more questions. Co-op, no co-op plan this time. It's strictly single-player game. Offline, you play by yourself. Now, nothing is off the table yet for post-launch, but we're not currently investigating. We're not currently looking at co-op.
No.
But we're not, for the future, who knows. But right now, strictly single-player. Can you pre-order? Yes, you can. It's live on the Epic Game Store, PlayStation Store, and the Xbox Store, and in any major retailer should have physical copies on console available for pre-order as well. Age rating, so this is, I would say, there is blood. Don't play this next to your kids. This is a very, sort of not quite mature, but you want to be we have to say you want to be 17 or 18 to play this game officially, right?
Yeah.
So it is gory. There's blood. There might be guts and gore. You can kill the crew members. So keep that in mind. So it's not child friendly.
It does have a mature rating, and I think a 16 PEGI rating. So it does have a little bit of violence in there.
We have a question regarding replay value. So yes, there's tons of it. So like we mentioned in the beginning, and we can not mention this often enough, this is a roguelike.
Mm-hmm.
So the way you're meant to play this is you go in, you see how far you can get. Sometimes you might fail, sometimes you might succeed, you might find a planet, get to the end game, and finish your playthrough. Whatever happens, whether you die or succeed, odds are if you found something of value, like a new tech, more clone information, upgrades, you can bring those over to subsequent playthroughs and start again with just more things when you begin. So you'll have more things, more options when you start. The further you get, you could play through 3, 5, 10, 15 times without finding everything, depending on how thorough you are, how lucky you are. Everything is random. You have hundreds of planets, but what you find on them will be different for each and every one of you. So there's a ton of replay value. So quick shout out to Resolve Flame on Mixer. Thanks for joining us. It's awesome seeing you. And hopefully you'll be picking up Genesis on January 29th.
Definitely. And we're just so you can see the cloning process there, we've just cloned another human to replace the one that was killed when we hit the planetary landing, and Wallace.
So you can rename him, you can talk to them, they have information, which is why there's an exclamation mark above his head. So very basic, you can use them as the PDA for basic information about modules.
Exactly.
And just to help you get around. So another question, will there be a DLC in the future? Maybe. We'll see. I mean, just, if you guys love the game, if you want to see more, we definitely want to make more. So I would say, if possible, lots of it, but we'll see. For now, we're focused on launch. The only thing you can buy extra is by pre-ordering right now. You have the Rockstar Corporation pack.
Correct.
Get some extra weapons and stuff. I think that's it, actually. So, I